everybody, welcome to Simple Joe Vlogs. Thank you for sharing with me. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, click on the bell and share with your friends and family. This is part 2 of Basic Food Hygiene, and as I said, we're going to keep it simple and basic. And here show you the danger of microbiological contamination. Microbiological. Micro means very, very small. And biology is study of life. So microbes are very tiny creatures. In fact, we have viruses and bacteria which fall under this category. We'll be talking more on bacteria, as that is the main food contaminant. So what are bacteria? They're very small living organisms that cannot be seen by the naked eye. You need a microscope to see it. And they multiply very, very quickly. The good thing is bacteria cannot move from one place to another. They have no means of movement. So they rely on a vehicle to move from one place to another. And that's where we unknowingly contaminate food by transferring bacteria from one spot to another spot. And how do bacteria increase in number? If we need a kid, we got to wait for at least 9 months. But bacteria is not the case. They just simply split into two. So one cell splits into two, and this is called binary fission. So one splits into two, two into four, four into eight, and so on and so forth. So we say bacteria multiply. And they multiply when the conditions are right. Bacteria is found on our bodies, on our skin, inside our bodies as well, on animals, contaminated soil. So bacteria are almost found everywhere, and of course in sewage as well. But there's also good bacteria and bad bacteria. Good bacteria, I'll give you an example. There's yeast that we use to make bread. That's bacteria. Also, to make alcohol, yeast is the main ingredient. Yeast is a bacteria that breaks up sugar into bacteria and carbon dioxide. There's also lactobacillus, which helps us get yogurt. So it converts milk into yogurt. And there are many other more, but I just gave you a few examples. And now, the bad bacteria, the ones which are called pathogens or which cause food poisoning and even death. This is what we've got to prevent from contaminating the food. Bacteria are living organisms just as you and I. So what do they need to grow, to multiply? Just as we need food, air, water, warmth, and time. Same goes for bacteria. Except, of course, there are certain bacteria which are called anaerobic bacteria, which don't need oxygen. But we leave that aside for a while. If you remove any one of these, bacteria cannot multiply. So either food, air, water, time, or temperature, warmth. This is how we can prevent or stop bacterial growth. How do we prevent it? There are different ways that bacteria can be transmitted. So to prevent, one, drip contamination, then we store food correctly in the refrigerator. Always place your cooked food above raw foods. Raw foods, especially meat, will always find the bottom, meat and fish. It will be on the bottom shelf. This stops drip contamination, where juices from the raw meat or fish can drip into the cooked food and contaminate the cooked food with bacteria. Then another way that we can prevent is by using separate chopping boards especially in the food industry. They've got various chopping boards. And these chopping boards are coded, so they're used only for that particular purpose. For example, red chopping boards used for raw meat, blue chopping boards used for fish and seafood, green chopping boards used for salads and fruits, vegetables in fact, white chopping boards for dairy and bakery products, yellow for cooked meat. This prevents cross-contamination. So you don't use the same chopping board where you cut raw meat and then you also cut your vegetables. So you do not contaminate the vegetables with bacteria from the meat. Another way of prevention is to keep bacteria out of the danger zone. So what is the danger zone? When the temperature shows from 5 to 63 degrees centigrade, this is the danger zone. This is the temperature at which bacteria can multiply. From 5 degrees centigrade to 63 degrees centigrade. In some places they stop at 60, 65. So I've taken the average 63. So what happens? Once the temperature falls below 5 degrees centigrade, becomes cold, the bacteria become inert. They stop. They cannot be active. They don't die. They just sort of go to sleep. So even if it's frozen, you put it in the freezer, you're just stopping the bacteria. Later on, if that is warmed up and the temperature starts increasing, going up above 5, bacteria again start becoming active, and then they start to reproduce, split and become more. So that's another way we can stop bacteria. Then once the temperature crosses 63 degrees centigrade, bacteria start to die. So that's the best. Once you start cooking food and the temperature crosses 65 degrees centigrade, they start to die. So cooked food will not contain bacteria. It's cooked well, of course. The cooking temperature for meat is 75 degrees centigrade for 3 minutes. For example, if you're cooking a joint of beef or chicken, you use a probe thermometer, and the tip of the probe thermometer should be in the middle of the joint. And it should read 75 degrees at least for 3 minutes. Then the meat is cooked. So cooking kills bacteria. What else kills bacteria? Now all of us have gone at one point or the other in our life into a swimming pool. Who uses a swimming pool? Practically everybody. Little children, adults, older people. Do you think that everybody who has entered the swimming pool has taken a bath or washed themselves? Maybe not. What about passing urine in the swimming pool? I'm sure there are people who have done that. Kids. So that swimming pool is so full of germs, bacteria, and you get into it. Of course you drink some of the water. If that were not treated, you'd really fall ill. If you enter a swimming pool and come out, you'd fall ill. But have you noticed once you come out of the swimming pool, your eyes are red, and also there's a smell from the water, emanating from the water. That is chlorine. So they treat the water with huge amounts of chlorine to kill bacteria. So there you have it. 1. Extreme heat, high temperatures above 65 kill bacteria. 2. Chlorine kills bacteria. There's a third way to kill bacteria. If you go into a barber shop, you see the barber has his tools, the scissors and the combs, inside a small box where a violet light emanates. Ultraviolet rays kill bacteria. So they sterilize the scissors and the combs in that box. So ultraviolet rays can kill bacteria. So these are the 3 ways that you can kill bacteria. So make sure the food is cooked well. And once the food is cooked, you can only leave cooked food out for 2 hours at room temperature. After that, you've got to refrigerate it to prevent any contamination. Another way that we can prevent is to rotate stock. It's called in the hotel industry first in, first out. So whatever you put into a refrigerator or into the storeroom, into the stockroom first is used first. The ones you buy later goes at the back. This way you do not keep store food for a long time. So you can minimize the threat of contamination. And another way, of course, is to keep yourself very clean and your equipment, your knives, your forks, your utensils, anything that you use to cook food should be kept extremely clean. Now let's talk about some of the types of bacteria. The most common, and the one that everyone speaks of, is Salmonella. Salmonella is a pathogen or a bacteria that causes food poisoning, and it's found in raw chicken and raw shell egg. So whenever you cook chicken or you buy chicken to eat, make sure it's well done. When you cut the chicken part, there should be no blood inside near the bone. It should be well done. So you can prevent Salmonella food poisoning. What happens? You need to ingest, to take in a large amount of bacteria if you're a healthy person. So when you take in a large amount of bacteria, that can cause food poisoning. If the amount is lesser than that, your body's immune system is good, you are strong, you will not get food poisoning. You may have a little bit of upset stomach, but it won't become severe. Please remember, there are people whose immune system is compromised or they have weakened immune system and they are susceptible to food poisoning. When you send out food as takeaways, you do not know who's going to consume the food. So, who are these people? What category do they fall in? Old people, pregnant women, infants and young children, people who are sick, and people who have just recovered from an illness. They are the group that have either weakened immune systems or are immunocompromised. So the immune system is compromised, and you should be very careful with those people because they will get sick with a smaller amount of bacteria. Then there's another bacteria called Staphylococcus. Staphylococcus is found on human skin, under the armpits. So if you find somebody smelling very bad, probably has a lot of Staphylococcus bacteria. Then you've got E. coli. E. coli is found in the intestines of humans and animals, in stool and in sewage. There's also Campylobacter, which is found in intestines. Now, there was an incident in Germany a few years back. A lot of people started falling ill and had food poisoning. When they investigated, they found out that this food poisoning was caused by them eating cucumbers. Now, cucumbers are normally eaten raw in salads or just like that. How did these cucumbers make those people fall ill? Because normally any fruit, any vegetable, if it's whole and the skin is not bruised, that means it doesn't contain bacteria. So they started investigating and the trail led back to the farm. And that was where they found the problem. Now, on the farm in Spain, raw sewage had mixed with the water that was used to irrigate the farm. Now, raw sewage which contained E. coli. As we all know, as we all have studied in science, the roots take nutrients and water from the soil to the plant. So along with that, probably the bacteria also traveled and was found in the cucumbers. So you see, if you're not careful, just a little bit, a lot of people can fall ill. And the worst is they can also die, which is the worst that can occur after food poisoning. So you should take care of yourself, practice clean personal hygiene, And this is non-negotiable. Clean at all times. This is what you have to realize. So see, a human mistake caused a lot of people to get sick. So this is the problem with bacteria. Now, there is spoilage bacteria and there is food poisoning, pathogens. The good thing is spoilage bacteria, if food is spoiled, you know it's spoiled. You can see it. And then it looks different. Changes color. Smells bad. When you taste it, tastes bad. Also when you touch it, the texture is different. It's slimy. That means that food is spoiled and then you throw it away. But pathogens, food poisoning bacteria, do not give you any indication that they are present in food. The food will smell great, it will taste great, it will look great, but it will cause you food poisoning. That is the danger of food poisoning bacteria. That is why we have to prevent before it can occur. So in a kitchen, probably in a hotel or a restaurant, and then again in your house, we buy small quantities of vegetables, but in a restaurant they buy a large quantity. So these boxes that are supplied with the vegetables should be thrown out at the receiving area. Those boxes should not be placed in the refrigerator because you do not know how it was stored in the warehouse or how it was transported or where it was kept, probably on the floor. Rats would have run on them. There'll be contamination, cockroaches. So you have to debox everything, wash the vegetables, place them in a separate container and then put them in the refrigerator. That's one way you can prevent something coming in. If you are sick, please inform them that you are not well, do not handle food. Especially now with COVID-19, you have to be more careful when you're handling food. Even though food itself does not cause COVID-19, but the wrap in which the food is, or the paper bag, or the box can be contaminated with the virus. So please be careful, guys. If you have any questions, please comment below and I'll be glad to answer them. I kept it short, I kept it simple. There's more to learn about bacteria. But once you know the dangers and you know how to prevent them, I trust you will start preventing them. Thank you very much for watching. I wish you all a wonderful day. Please, again, don't forget, like and subscribe, click the button and share with everybody so that you can spread knowledge to others as well. Thank you very much. So from me, Simple Joe Vlogs, bye for now. See you.